Alright guys, American Trucker here. I'm on home time right now. Today is I think it's the 19th of March. I have been on home time since the first week in March. So I've taken quite a bit of time off, but I'm actually taking care of someone that just had surgery. And that's why I'm taking definitely more time off than I normally would. I was out for 6 weeks, so I got 5 paychecks. I'll tell you about 6 paychecks, but the first one was negative, was the bottom line on that one. So, but I told you I would do a payday video, kind of see how I got started when I leased on to Prime, coming back to Prime and leasing on with my own truck and with no truck payment. So some of these numbers are going to sound real good, and I'm not complaining. I don't think they're bad, but I think I can get them up for sure once I get back in the flow again. Got off to a little bit rocky start, but some of that was my fault, and I'll explain that here in a minute. I don't want to make this too long. I'm actually stopping here to get a haircut. Just came from the gym, going to get a haircut, and there was like a 30-minute wait, but I think it's already down to about 20 minutes, so I'm definitely going to try to keep this 10 minutes or less, but I'm going to try to cover as much as I can during that time. So basically, I wrote the numbers down here. You probably can't see that, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I could have wrote any numbers down. You guys don't know, but if you ever see me at a truck stop, at Prime Terminal, anywhere, side of my truck it says America First Transportation. That's my company, one-man company. I say like I got a bunch of employees or something. I own my own truck. I have no truck payment. I paid for it from all the money that I made my first year in Prime. It's a used truck. I did pretty good even in this market as far as buying it, and I bought it from Prime's fleet when they get rid of their trucks and get new ones, and it had a little over 500,000 miles on it, so it wasn't that expensive. And I bought it from Pedigree Sales, and it really is a bonus for me because, one, it was cheaper than any other trucks I could find in their condition and with that many miles in this current market. And you guys know the trucks are overinflated on price, so I thought I got a really good price. I couldn't find any cheaper anywhere else, and I knew where it came from, and I know how they take care of it, and I know they kept their maintenance up on it because Prime's really good about that. So all the way around, I felt comfortable. And then my process of buying it through Pedigree Sales, which if you Google Pedigree Sales in Springfield, Missouri, you'll see what I'm talking about. But my process throughout the whole thing from buying that truck was absolutely amazing. No complaints at all. Matter of fact, they went above and beyond my expectations, to be honest with you. So smooth process, and it worked out so far so good. And I haven't had one single trouble at all with the truck, not one. And if you watch my other videos, you'll see whatever I bought the truck, I'll talk about, my experience on that, and I'll talk a little bit about the truck and the condition and everything it's in. But anyways, all right, so I started in late January. By the time I got my truck, I got decals on, I did everything I needed to do, all the paperwork with Prime. I started in late January, and my first paycheck was like $300 some negative. So my first paycheck was like $300 some negative. I had startup costs. I started on a Monday, and if you work for Prime, you know. If you don't, then I'll tell you, you get, the payday ends on Wednesday at 4 p.m. and then you get paid on a Friday, 2 days later. So I started on a Monday. I chose, during that time, there was a big storm coming in. I chose to go to Florida because all the storm was coming across the whole entire United States, and I wanted to go down below it, and it worked out perfect as far as staying out of the storm and me getting back in the flow. I had too much time on it, but I was okay with that. I knew that when I chose that load, it was going into Florida, which normally it pays good going in. It didn't pay good going in, so I knew also I was not going to be good coming out for sure, and it didn't disappoint. It was not good at all going in when I got paid, and it was terrible coming out, exactly what I expected. And that whole first 2 paychecks basically reflected that. But I started on a Monday, and I didn't finish that very first load going into Florida until Thursday morning. So that whole first paycheck, when you add the starting cost in, I didn't even get a load completed, and I had money already coming out. So that's why the first paycheck was negative. And then coming out, the first 7 days was just horrible. So half of that paycheck was on the first paycheck, which was negative. The other half of that was still horrible, and it went on the first paycheck that had a positive amount, which was February 2nd, and I got $2,804. And that might not sound too bad, but when you add in, I really had the second paycheck, I really had a whole week on that load and one load extra for the first week that didn't get put on the first week, that got carried over. So when you add that all together, really it wasn't good at all the first 2 weeks. But again, I was getting back in the groove. I knew that going in, that it was going to pay terrible going to Florida. I knew it was going to pay even worse coming out, and then I got a bad load even after that one, and it just kind of all reflected on the first paycheck. So $2,800 don't sound bad, but when you add in, really it should have been at least any other time with $1,500, $2,000 more during that whole time, any other time. But it's also January. All these are January and February paychecks, except for the last one I got paid on March 2nd, but it still ran during the January time frame for the most part. And if you do refrigerator freight, you know that is the worst. January is the worst month of the entire year. And I would imagine February is probably the second worst, or maybe late December after New Year's. Well, that would be January, but January is definitely known for being the worst. February is probably the second worst month of the entire year for refrigerated freight. So I did pretty good toward the end of February, I think. And I'm gonna tell you my numbers, but again, keep in mind, I have nothing coming out except for what it cost to run the truck, right? Fuel, tags, insurance, the things that you have to run the truck, right? Not health insurance, nothing personal, not my car payment. I don't have a car payment, but not car insurance, car payments, whatever you may have, right? No e-fund. I have no e-fund coming out of this, right? So keep all that in mind, that the numbers I'm going to tell you is everything that it takes to run the truck, and that's it. And then they give me a net pay, which is what I'm going to show you, and that's everything that takes to run the truck. The only thing I have to take out of this number is my taxes, and then if I want to, then that's what you have left to pay your house payment, or to pay your car payment, or to pay your health insurance, dental, if you want to set aside money for an e-fund or whatever. I don't do none of that stuff out of this paycheck, right? So the numbers I'm going to tell you is just what it takes to run the truck. That's very important for you guys who are thinking about getting in the truck and who are watching this, because don't be fooled by some of these numbers, because they sound really big, especially if you're making $50,000 a year in a factory somewhere, working in a department store, making $40,000 a year or something like that. And that also, these numbers don't reflect taking time off. You start averaging time off into these numbers go down. So it depends on how much time you take off, all that stuff. So that's why everybody has different numbers. That some people take more time off, some people take less. Everybody's circumstances are different. How hard they run when they're out there working. Some people take 34s every week. Some people take at least one day off every week. I run 7 days a week, hard as I can run. It's just as hard as I can go until I take time off. When I take time off, that's when I take time off. I don't take time off when I'm out on the road. I save that for when I'm home. That's when I want to be able to relax and do all that stuff. I take no time off at all. I work my gym time in, I work my shopping in, all that stuff. I fit those things inside of my 10-hour breaks 90% of the time. So keep that in mind. If you got any questions or comments about any of these numbers that I'm going to go over, just leave them in the comment section below. If you ever run into me, and I don't feel like I need to prove anything to anyone, but if you're not just trying to sharpshoot me and trying to say, oh, that's not true, you don't make those numbers aren't true, or whatever, I have all these numbers. I'm gonna tell you, you have the video. If you're watching this, you can save it, whatever you want to do. And if you ever catch up to me, you say, hey, can you show me for instance, can you show me the paycheck you told me about on February 9th in one of your videos? You said you made this amount of money. I just want to see that. I have every single paycheck emailed to me from Prime. I have all the deposits, I have everything. It's easy to prove if somebody wants to just see that, because they're thinking about getting into the industry and they want to know if those numbers are legit, not if they're trying to say, I don't believe that, I work for so-and-so and that's not true, or whatever. Or maybe you don't believe them and you do, and you think, well, you can't make that at a mega carrier. If you can make that, I'll switch over, because I ain't making near that now working for so-and-so. Whatever the case may be, I don't care to show you if you're not being an ass about it, coming up to me and saying, tell me I don't make those. If you're being legit and you just want to see, hey, can I see proof of that, because that sounds like that's pretty good numbers, you know, and I might switch to Prime if that's true, or I might come to work for Prime, being my first company, if that's true, because, you know, people are telling me all different things, but nobody ever shows me any proof. I have no problem with that. Every single paycheck I've ever gotten working for Prime, I have in my email on a legit spreadsheet from emailed from Prime, the source, and I have no problem showing anybody any of my paychecks, by all means. If I could have a place printed out, I would have, but it's just hard to see on here. The sun's blaring right now, so you probably can't see this anyways. These are just numbers that I wrote down. And these are the numbers that I'm going to be talking about. All right, basically, so February 2nd, I made $28.04. That was my first positive paycheck. Like I said, the one before that was negative. The first positive paycheck was February 2nd, $28.04, and that really was about 10 days worth of work, because one of those loads was like 3 day long. My first week, like I said, it carried over, so that's really not that good of a week, but I wasn't complaining. That's my first paycheck back. I just got back in the groove. I was a little bit, if you watch one of my other videos, I'll talk about this, about being kind of out of rhythm, and I chose to duck the storm that was coming across the whole United States at that time and go underneath it. And while everybody else was in snow and or pouring down rain, depending where you were at in the country, and high winds and everything you could possibly imagine, I was in Florida, and it was about 75 degrees, maybe 80 degrees that second day, you know, and the whole United States was getting clobbered, and I was enjoying life, like I said, and I was just getting back into the rhythm, so I didn't care if I didn't have a great paycheck during that first few weeks coming back, which is fine. Now, I'm gonna tell you something really important, and I'm gonna say this, so if you missed this part of the video, you may not understand this, and you may think, again, I'm overinflating these numbers. All these rest of these numbers are going to be better than this on the rest of these paychecks. Keep in mind, I only have come out, these are numbers, only what it takes, these are my net numbers after only what it takes to run the truck and before taxes. And a big point that I'm trying to get to is I do not have a truck payment, and I don't have an APU payment. So before, when I was leasing, or if you're thinking about coming into Prime and leasing, I don't think anybody couldn't duplicate these numbers. Once you get your feet wet and get a little bit of experience, at least 3 to 6 months in, I don't think it's that hard as some people make it out to be, but you know, everybody's different. If whatever these numbers I tell you from this point forward, including that $2,800 one, subtract about $1,200 from it. So truck payment and APU payment are also going to be coming out of these numbers if you come to Prime and you're leasing, if you're brand new. But even when you subtract $1,200 off the numbers that I'm going to tell you, that's still not bad for your first company if you're brand new in trucking, or if you're out there just working your hind end off and making these same numbers. I don't think I work hard at Prime, to be honest with you. I mean, I ain't out there working like somebody who works construction, you know, all day long and just sweating their butt off, and physical labor, and you know, it's stressful, and you know, it's just hot and 90 degrees. I mean, the hardest thing I think we do is get out, open the doors, slide the tandems, and then get back in the air conditioner while they unload the truck. So, you know, it is what it is. Some truckers at Prime or any other company, they don't know how I work, but you know, I don't know how they work, but they're going to say, oh, trucking is the hardest, you know, it's so hard, whatever. I ain't saying it's easy, but actually, I take that back. I think the job itself is easy. I think being an OTR trucker is the hard part. The hard part, in my opinion, for truckers is the stress that comes along with being away from home, being away from family, having financial issues, and it's hard to handle those sometimes on the road, having family issues, and it's hard to handle those sometimes when you're away on the road, having just any issues you can think about, and trying to handle those and run 7 days a week and not be there to go into the bank, or not be there to talk to the person, you know, you're having issues with, family or friends or whatever, and not really having a whole lot of friends on a continual, regular basis. You know, if you're OTR and you're out here for weeks at a time, you see your friends every once in a while, you see your family every once in a while, and some people are personable. They're more extrovert, and they need to be with people more than others. And it just, to me, that's the hard part. The whole hard part, especially for a younger guy who's never been away from home, you know, getting out there for weeks at a time on your own and the best thing you have is a phone call. Well, you got FaceTime now, but you know, that's the hardest part for, I think, for OTR truckers. That's why people want to be home. They want to do regional, so they can at least be home every week or weekend. Or they want to do, you know, local, so they can be home every day and sleep in their bed. That's the things you hear people saying about, I make this much money and I'm home every day and I sleep in my bed. So it's not always about the money, but if you can adapt to that, or if you can put up with that for a few years, especially if you're a young man, you can come out here and work for Prime or any other place. I mean, I know Prime's a good place to work at, but for your first company, in my opinion, one of the best mega carriers, if not the best out there. If you could do with that, put your head down, put your nose to the grindstone, as they say, and work your butt off for 2 or 3 years, and just dig in and save as much money as possible, man, you could get off to a good start, in my opinion. And I mean, you really could. You could make some really good money. I still stand by, in this economy and in this freight market, I'm still standing by what I said last year. I believe you could come right now, and this is March 2023. And everybody's talking about truckers going out of business and this and that. There's all kinds of reasons why. I still say you could come here right now and make $100,000 your first year working at Prime. That's my opinion. I stand by it. I don't care if you use my recruiter code or not and you come work for Prime. I'm just telling you, I believe it. I absolutely believe it. And some of these numbers are actually kind of reflect that, even after you take off, you know, the numbers that, you know, the lease payment or the APU payment. So anyways, this video is going for a long time. Let me get on with it. February 2nd, 2804. That's what I made with no truck payment, no APU payment, you know, after everything was taken out but taxes. February the 9th, $4,025. I'm rounded. I'm not putting the pennies in there, but or the cents. So February the 9th, $4,025. That's what I made. February 16th, $3,379. February 23rd, this I was happy with. I was very happy with this. $5,408. I had a very good week that week. If I could do that every week, absolutely, it would be a no-brainer. I mean, I don't know if I'd ever come home. At least for, anyways, I would stay out for a lot longer if I could make that if I knew I'd make that every week. And then March 2nd, which was my 5th positive paycheck, 6th paycheck overall, but $3,947. So if I can make $4,000 or more a week average while I'm out, I wouldn't complain too much. But if you were leasing at Prime and you were making $4,000 and you had $1,200 subtraction from that for lease payment and APU payment combined, I mean, if you're at $4,000, obviously that would be $2,800 net before taxes. That still wouldn't be anything to complain about, I don't think, in this freight market and these freight rates and all that stuff. Of course, most Prime's freight is contracted, but I think this would be a great place to come to, a great start, and hopefully the freight market, as far as refrigerated freight, is going to go up from here. This season, we're getting to the good freight season, so I'm hoping these numbers will go up. And now that I'm back in the groove, even though I took a few weeks off now, I'm back into it. I'll get back and I'm gonna go over some more numbers, and then the freight market's gonna go up, hopefully, and then hopefully I'll show you some more paychecks that's going up. But I'm telling you, man, if you're just getting out of school, I see it all the time on these Facebook forums and stuff. Which company should I go to? Which company should I go to? Million different opinions. Go wherever you want. I just don't think you could go wrong with starting at Prime, right? Matter of fact, they have their own CDL school. They'll put you through CDL school. They'll feed you while you're there, house you while you're there. You could come with $0 in your pocket and a bag of clothes, and you could be making $100,000 average your first year. You do what you want after that. I mean, you could work for 6 months, Prime. You work for a year. You could work for 3 months. Now, if you work less than a year, the thing is you have to pay for their school, from what I know a little bit about. I didn't go to it, but if you work at least 1 year, the debt's wiped out. You don't have to pay for anything as far as getting your CDL, and you got a year experience, and you'll have to be more marketable to move around places. And you got to get your experience at a good starter company, in my opinion. It's a good starter company, in my opinion, and so far I'm still here. I bought my first truck after 1 year, and I'm leased back onto them. Their support staff is excellent, in my opinion. I'm sure there's some just as good out there, maybe at other places, but right now, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what I'm doing currently. So The second year is going to be even better than my first year, barring I don't have any breakdowns. Back that up, barring I don't have many breakdowns or many maintenance expenses. You will have some for sure, and I'm already planned for that, prepared for that. Anyways, that's my number, guys. That's my numbers so far for first 5 paychecks working for Prime. I guess 6. The first one was negative. I told you why earlier, but I'm supposed to make another video. I'm going to start back. Today's 19th. I'm going back this Tuesday for about 7 to 10 days. I got someone filling for me as far as healthcare, helping out with healthcare, and then I got to come back for another 10 days or so, 2 weeks maybe, again, which is definitely not helping me on the finance side, but sometimes, you know, family's health is more important than, you know, if you got, I don't have to do this to pay my bills. I'm retired military. If you watch some of my other videos, you know that, but that's what I keep my bills paid with. So this is money that I'm trying to save to buy some land. So that's why I'm out here. So I have a little bit of an advantage when it comes to something like that. So I can take a little more time off than most, but that's still, I don't want to be out here. This is a 5-year plan for me at most. I'm not trying to drag this out. So I got to do what I got to do right now, but I'm going to get back at it. And then this year, unlike last year, I'm going to try to stay out at least 6 weeks. I might even push it to 8 weeks per trip. And then maybe even shorten my time in on vacation, and maybe even lengthen my time out more than that. We'll see how this goes. But anyways, this is over 21 minutes right now. I'm looking at the clock. Way too long. If you stuck with me, I appreciate it. I'll do more videos. If you want to subscribe, great. Leave a comment. If you got any questions, let me know, and I'll get back to you, answer as many as I can. And if you see me out there looking for America First Transportation, it's on both sides of my doors. Holler at me, say hi. And if you got any questions, like I said, leave in the comments below, and I'll get back with you. That sun's bright. That's it, guys. American Trucker, I am out.